And you did. Oh, and thank you for being here today. I'm Reverend C.C. Coltrane, and I'm very happy to welcome you to Center for Spiritual Living Greater Dayton, and to wish you a very wonderful and green and beautiful Earth Day today. If you're here for the very first time, we'd like to extend a special welcome to you and say thank you for spending your Sunday with us. If you will take a moment to just fill out that little strip on your program with your contact information and drop it at the Welcome Center after service, it would be greatly appreciated. We will not pester you with emails. We might send you a thank you for being here and put you on our Wednesday. Every Wednesday I send out a little spiritual pick-me-up. You can opt out if you decide you don't like it, but we'd like to be able to send it to you for a tryout anyway. Let's see, this morning Lana Mayhew will be giving our reading and invocation, and our vigil holder is Linda Smith. And Lana and Linda Andriaco will do our interfaith candle lighting, which we do every week, just to be reminded that there are great sources of wisdom and truth from all the world's spiritual and religious traditions. And we look at them all and mine them all and learn from them all. The kids ages 5 to 10 today are with Teresa Napke. There she is. And the teens and tweens are with us here in the service. And so, we might be kidless this morning. Looks like we are. I don't see any children. Well, Anne, but Anne's a perpetual child. Aren't you? Just say yes. Good. That's what we love about her. This childlike wonder she brings to everything. So I guess now it's time for some more great music. The band is going to do a song called, I don't know who wrote it. Who wrote it?
Faith Rivera.
Oh, Faith Rivera. Well, then you know it's wonderful. It's called Here and Now.
We light the first candle in honor of Native American religious traditions. O great Creator, I come before you in a humble manner and offer you this sacred pipe. With tears in my eyes and an ancient song from my heart, I pray for my relations in nature, all those who walk, crawl, fly, and swim, seen and unseen, to the good spirit that exists in every part of creation. We light the second candle in honor of Buddhism, a mind unruffled by the vagaries of fortune, from sorrow freed, from defilements cleansed, from fear liberated. This is the greatest blessing. We light the third candle in honor of the Sufi tradition. Your task is not to seek for love, but merely to seek and find all the barriers within yourself that you have built against it. We light the fourth candle in honor of Christianity. We are the children of light and love, the children of God. As such, we must have his qualities and his attributes of love, peace, and kindness towards all. We light the fifth candle in honor of Hinduism. Try not to change the world. You will fail. Try to love the world. Lo, the world is changed forever. We light the sixth candle in honor of Judaism. God is the mystery to which our lives are the answer. We light the final candle in honor of Taoism. Kindness in words create confidence. Kindness in thinking creates profoundness. Kindness in giving creates love. The reading today is from Ernest Holmes. Whether 70 or 16, there should be in every person the love of wonder, the sweet amazement at the stars and the star-like things and thoughts, the undaunted challenge of events, the unfailing childlike appetite for what next, and joy in the game of life. You are as young as your faith, as old as your doubts, as young as your confidence, as old as your fear, as young as your hope, as old as your despair. So if you can just now take those words into that silent place for a few moments of contemplation. So how good is it to know that God is right here with us every step of the way, every moment, breathing us, pulsating blood throughout our whole entire body, mind, and spirit, that we are absolutely anchored in this one mind, this one power is the only truth, is the only power in the universe. And so I know that this same power is orchestrating this whole entire service. And so I know that it is in divine order and divine right action. I'm knowing that with the band, that they play the most magnificent music with Reverend Cece as we listen and hear her divine wisdom. And with our children's church, all of this congregation and all of us as practitioners and everyone that makes this time together sacred time. And I give such thanks for this. Thank you, thank you, thank you, God. And together we say, and so it is. Amen.
Still thinking we have to put lane lines down. Yeah. Sometimes it gets, I wonder if we're all going to crash into each other at this little moment of transition. So I read this great story a while ago. It's a very old story, and it's about a young woman who falls asleep. It's in the Mediterranean. She falls asleep on a rock underneath an almond tree, and guess what happens? She wakes up pregnant. The almond tree did it. It's a legendary story of another virgin birth. Got to have a story to figure that part of it out when you tell your mom, I guess. But the point of it is that the facts of the story are inaccurate. The truth of the story is not. The truth of the story is about what gets born in us due to divine inspiration, right? Our topic for today comes from an essay in Ernest Holmes' book, Living the Science of Mind, an essay called How Old Are You? And his facts are simply wrong. The truth, however, that's in that essay is not. He states this, he says, we're told that each cell of the physical body is completely replaced every 14 months. And so he asks, since that's true, what produces aging in the body? Well, the 14-month thing is not accurate. It's just not. There are some parts of our body, like our teeth, that never regenerate cells. There are other parts of the body that do so very slowly. And there's some parts of us, like our skin, that gets replaced every week. Heart cells, bone cells, and the most evolved brain cells only regenerate themselves very, very slowly. And we also know that, of course, over time, as cells divide, if we're not careful with our diets and the state of our bodies, the telomeres, those things that hold the chromosomes as they separate, shorten, and that makes the cell division, it ages the new cells right off the bat. Holmes was reflecting, I think, what scientists were thinking in the 1920s, because they knew about the cells that regenerate all the time. So we're always learning more, and we're always discovering more truth about our world. But his question, how old are you, has a lot of other ramifications for us, I think. One of the things that he notes that is correct is that, over time, our minds simply gain experience, knowledge from experience. We don't lose anything. We may misfile it from time to time. I know I do. But we're always adding to the contents of our consciousness. And we might learn a little less rapidly as we get older, but we don't learn any less accurately. The contents of our consciousness is always growing. And his thoughts on this whole topic really intrigued me, because the truth of what he writes, despite the facts, some of the facts being wrong or outdated, the truth is there. He says, one of the reasons that we feel like we are aging is our trouble, he says, is that we have thought of ourselves as separate from God. And in doing this, we've stored up a burden of care and worry in our minds. We feel inadequate to handle the situations that come along because we perceive we're working alone. What a load we shall get off our minds, he says, when we learn there is but one mind that carries every load. And he goes on, let us consider what wonderful miracles life is always working in our bodies. Even such a simple instance as stepping from a warm room into winter air, if we had eyes to see it, we would witness a miracle of the one life. There's this quote's on the other side. A miracle of the one life at work for our comfort. Immediately, the circulatory system and the respiratory system and the digestive system go to work in such a way as to bring about an inner balance of temperature to counteract the cold and keep the body free from pain and discomfort. Life maintains a wonderful factory in the human body. It has a furnace room to generate heat. It has a chemical plant to purify and dispose of poisons. It has a maintenance crew that keeps the machinery in order. It even has a lubricating system to keep the joints oiled, and a transportation system that carries supplies from one part of the factory to another, and an inter-office communication system that would stagger the imagination of the greatest engineer. I love that description because it's so true. And the most amazing thing is that this all goes on without us even thinking about it. We don't have to direct it. It just happens in us, right? It's pretty miraculous. It truly is. Even when part of it breaks down or doesn't work properly, this is a miraculous vehicle that we've been given to live in. And it's a miraculous planet we live on. Even in the face of global climate change, Earth is producing new species that can handle it. There are crosses now between polar bears and brown bears that can live through the increasing temperatures and the decreasing ice because they can eat other things that polar bears aren't designed to eat. It's incredible. The planet is a wonderfully calibrated life form, if we'll let it be, right? When I spend time with ideas like this, my own body, or the planet and the things that happens to it, that it heals, fires, volcanoes, tidal waves, all those things, then the planet comes roaring back in to heal itself. When I spend time with those ideas, I find myself in a place of absolute awe that such an amazing thing could be happening all around me and in me, and I'm not even aware of it. I'm not even aware of it. When I forget about the miracles, I can feel alone and powerless and burdened because I got so much to do, man, you know? But when I just stop and remember what's going on right here in my own body, I can drop into a new state of consciousness very quickly. And that's what Holmes, I think, is inviting us to, a deeper consciousness of trusting and relying on that which created the miraculous, that which is sustaining the miraculous. And when I get there, when I really get there and consider all that's going on and I don't even know it and I don't have to regulate it and I don't have to think about it, I think, how could I ever not trust that which created and maintains this miracle body of mine? You know, it kind of puts us in a different place. When I'm in this kind of consciousness, then I experience wonder and surprise and joy. I walk out the door and see the sky in the morning when I take my dogs out first thing, and the colors. And this morning, the symphony of birds. I've been really concerned because I haven't heard very many. Well, it's been too darn cold. But they were all out this morning. And, you know, there's some wacky species that makes the most ridiculous cry. And then there's this constant twittering, and then there's so many sounds to it. It's just breathtaking. When I sit in the middle of a big thunderstorm and watch the lightning here, it's so great because it kind of rolls through the whole sky, and I can just sit there and watch it. It's amazing. When I stop and just see what life is doing all around me, then I'm in wonder and surprise and joy, and I realize that something new is always happening. Something new is always happening. In this little essay, Holmes continues by saying, yesterday is gone, tomorrow has not yet arrived, but today can be filled with wonder when we know that we stand on the threshold of that which is wonderful and new. And this is the place where we're never old. This is the place where we're never tired or bored with life. That realizing we're always on the threshold of something new that's happening. All of these things we do every day can really seem routine, and we can get deep in a rut. We walk the dogs the same way every day. We brush our teeth. First thing we do is get up and do whatever we do and brush our teeth, and we have a routine, and it's the same every day. We drive to work the same way every day. These things can seem really routine, but they're actually really helpful for us because we can do them without thinking about them. And we can use our creative minds in other ways. We don't have to spend it all in how do you brush your teeth again? We just know and we just do it, right? Instead of focusing on the rut of our routine, what happens when we use that time to look around and see what new thing is happening? Then we start to tune in to what life is doing all around us and in us and as us. I'm spending some time again, as I do every few years, with the Sufis because they're such great students of God and of life, and they spend time contemplating the descriptions, the qualities of God, and they have different names for each of those qualities, so they can just understand that God shows up everywhere. And when they study and spend time with these names, they tune into to that part of God whenever they see it. One of the qualities that struck me this week is Al-Mu'id, the one who brings things forth anew. I love that. And there's a great little story they tell to illustrate kind of the way we deal with Al-Mu'id. There was once a forest of trees which lived a magnificent and beautiful life. Due to the natural development of their surroundings, the trees' life cycles came to a climax, and then gradually they began to die off, giving way to the smaller species that had sprung up underneath the trees. Various groups of bees made their nests in the hollow trunks of these dead trees and lived very happily, making honey. Gradually the trees began to decay and fall. When one of the trees fell, the groups of bees debated amongst themselves why this should be, and concluded that it must have something to do with their various methods of making hives, and with the various merits of their hives. Some felt that when a tree fell, the bees in it were being punished for not making a good hive, or because they had lived bad lives. Others were more charitable. They wanted to bring those bees into their nest, saying, after all, it could have been us. The trees continued to fall one by one, and finally all the bees were homeless and had to move on. Each group had been taken by surprise when their tree fell. Each had failed to recognize that all trees fall eventually. All trees fall eventually, and so they should finish their work and find a new forest before their tree fell. See, by mistaking the form of the trees for their real function, the bees were caught by surprise. They were caught by surprise. They denied the need for change, for adaptation, for evolution, by making up stories about why their tree would not fall. They were superior bees. They tried harder. They built good hives. They lived good lives. They didn't see the new thing that was trying to happen all around them. And we do that all the time with every part of our lives, right? We do it with our bodies. We think, if I'm good enough, gravity's not going to have its way with me. Ha ha ha. Let me tell you that is a lie. If I'm attentive enough or I work hard enough, nothing is ever going to happen to me but good. It's going to keep going up and up and up and up and up. We do it with our relationships, we do it with our jobs, we do it with our homes, we do it with our ruts. We furnish those ruts, don't we? We furnish them. And then we plod back and forth in them and say, God, this is so boring. We do that all the time. We focus on the outer rather than on the inner place where life is always new and something new is always happening. Always. When we look within, we can see those parts of our consciousness that are dead and starting to rot, right? Or the ones that ought to be dead and out of our consciousness. Because when something in here dies, something new is created, rises up in its place, something new and vital and works better in our lives. When we walk a spiritual path, part of our egos is always dying or dead or rotting. That's the way it works. Because we learn a new way of thinking and it challenges our egos, and if we keep at it, the ego has to crumble and something new has to come into its place. Usually a better, still egoic, but better egoic thought, like the bees that said, it could be us. Maybe we should invite them into our hive. Maybe we should be nice to them instead of judging them. That's still an egoic thought, but it's a better one. It's a better one than, oh, well, those suckers, they lost their tree, stupid bees, There's a different thought that's always coming. And then eventually there is this notion that all the bees are one. And they're one with the trees and they're one with life. And what's really happening here is it's time for us to move to something new, fresh, vital. So when we become aware of something in here, out there, that needs renewal, we can sense God as Al-Mumit, the bringer of death, because that's God too. Something in us passes away to make room for something new. A door to another world opens as the door to the world we have known closes behind us. And then Al-Mu'id breathes new energy into the place that needs it. Needs the new life and the renewal, and then comes Al-Muhi, the quickener. This quality of God infuses the new with its own life and vibrancy and creativity. So when we find ourselves in these spots, or when we feel like we're just pacing back and forth in that furnished rut, it is often time to ask ourselves, where in here can I find the energy and the vitality and the love of life I've been trying to find out there? Where in here can I find the place that maybe is disappearing, creating an empty space for new to happen? What in our experience has been calling us to look within for the energy to move forward, the love of life we've been looking for? What would help us awaken that life energy? Because the life force is always there. The source is in the heart, which we explored a little bit last week. When we become silent and step past our fears and preoccupations and enter the space of the heart, we can feel life energy moving. It's always there. It's always there. When we remember that we are it, when we are the life force itself, then how old are we? We're eternal, right? We're eternal beings. We're eternally filled with the life force of spirit, no matter what it looks like on the outside, or no matter how much gravity's had its way with us, or no matter how much we have furnished that rut. We are eternally made new. We are eternally reborn, moment by moment by moment. Ernest Holmes again wrote, "We cannot remain young and enthusiastic unless we know that we are one with that which knows no age and has no burdens." No one grows old merely by living a number of years. People grow old only by deserting their ideals. Years wrinkle the skin, he says, but to give up enthusiasm wrinkles the soul. There should be in everyone the love of wonder, the sweet amazement at the stars and the star-like things and thoughts, the unfailing childlike appetite for what next. For as Holmes reminds us, we're as young as our faith, our confidence, our hope. We're as vital and new and fresh and eternal and unfailing as God is. And when we use that awareness to go within and find that place of life, that newness that's always bubbling up, and then we bring that to the world, we remember that all the life around us, that this planet we stand on, that our bodies, that every part of us, those are the star-like things that Holmes was talking about. And I'm getting ready to sum up, so we're going to ask the band to come back up while I'm doing that rather than while I'm praying. So today is Earth Day, right? It's a day for us to be conscious of this life that we share with the earth, to bring this beautiful planet into the same spiritual consciousness and awareness that we bring to our lives, because it is one of the star-like things that Holmes was talking about for sure. This planet is eternal and self-sustaining and self-healing and life-bringing and amazing. It's amazing. You know, if we remember that we give spirit in the form of our earth a chance, it can heal itself. It can once again sustain us completely without you know, some of the craziness that's going on now because we haven't given it a chance. We've continued to pressure it and pressure it and pressure it. It's sort of like when you've got something that needs to change in you and you just keep pushing it away and pushing it away and pushing it away. That's when it starts to kind of rot instead of creating a new space. When we take action from that point of view, that this planet is an incarnation of God, then our action becomes meaningful and powerful. Whether it is simply buying, I found the coolest thing, made from corn, completely biodegradable doggy poop bags. I was so happy. Do you know how hard, that's one of the things that caused me to lie awake at night. I have 2 dogs. I'm contributing so much plastic to the world. So I found these really cool bags. Whether it's, recycling our stuff or buying something to use in place of saran wrap or Ziploc bags, whether it's simply buying canvas grocery bags, turning our furnaces down in the winter and our air conditioning down in the summer, whatever it is we do to give the planet a chance. If we also take the earth into our spiritual practice and back our action with the spiritual knowledge that this earth is a beautiful God created and God supported organism, then we're giving it the chance it needs to try and heal itself. It too is an action and an incarnation of spirit. So how we treat our earth home can come from a place where we know oneness with each other, with all life, with even the organisms of the soil. So I invite us to look in our own lives, to look within, for the place where life pours into us, where something new is always happening. And to shift our view a little so that we see the divine beauty, the divine engineering, and the infinite care that went into creating each one of us and our planet, this life-sustaining orb that we call home. And I invite us to remember that, like us, Earth is as young as the ideals we support for her. So I invite us to bring our faith and our confidence and our hope and our wonder into our lives in every possible way, including the way we live on this planet right here and right now. So let's pray together for our own lives, for our own consciousness, continual expansion, and for this beautiful planet we call home. So I just take a breath and let my awareness descend into my heart space. This place of life and love and joy and spaciousness. This place of hope and wonder and awe and creativity. This place of peace. And there in my heart I know the allness of this thing we call God. This life force, this creativity that is everywhere present in every moment of time, that manifests itself as grass and butterflies and birds and wind and streams and fish and the whole planet and all of the life on it, and as me and as you. And it is also absolutely miraculously made, so awesomely engineered, and so richly supported, so that I can get up in the morning and do my routine without thinking, and then walk out the door and be struck with wonder. So that I can look at the planet as it greens up for spring, and as flowers begin to open, and bees begin to buzz, and birds begin to nest, and think, wow, this is a miracle. So that I can think about my own breathing and my blood flow and think, this too is a miracle. Life is always happening all around us, and in us, and through us, and as us, and in and as and through this planet. Something new is always stirring. Something old is being transmuted simply because it no longer serves, and something new and better, more suited to where we are in this moment, is coming forward. And as we hold all that as sacred, we welcome the change. As we hold all of that as blessed and holy, we say yes. And we allow ourselves to leave the rotting tree behind and find a new forest, one that is buzzing with life. As we simply say, I know that God is present in all the changes, the death, the quickening, the new life, the new beginnings, the sustaining, all of it. We just say yes to it with joy, and our lives become filled with birdsong and sunlight and beautiful skies and joy and eagerness, and we hold high ourselves, everyone around us, and all life. We hold our planet high, and we allow her to heal herself just as we heal ourselves, as we step into something new together. And so this is what I know and claim for us today, that we do all this with absolutely open hearts and inquisitive minds, for we are truly eternally becoming, which means we're always young, always excited, always willing to look at these stars and the star-like things with awe and reverence. And so I simply say thank you, God, for this time together today, for all that we are becoming, for all that we have been, for everything that is dying and everything that is being born newly, for all of it. For it is all the one life in action, And it is beautiful, it is miraculous, it is miracle. So I simply say thank you. I release these words into the infinite universe, knowing they never come back void. The universe is always moving towards me as I take a step toward it. It is done. And we say together, and so it is.
I am just a thread, a simple thread in this glorious web of light.
We are all just drops within a stream flowing towards an ocean of light.
We may forget where we come from. We may forget where we're going to. I might not see that you're a reflection of me as much as I'm a reflection of you. Just a seed, a blessed seed with eternity unfolding in me. And I pray that as I grow, I will reveal the love that illuminates my soul. When I remember where I come from, when I remember where I'm going to, then I will see that you're a reflection of me as much as I'm a reflection of you. This is my simple prayer. May I become a reflection of the infinite one. This is my simple prayer. May I become a reflection of the infinite one. This is my simple prayer. May I become a reflection of the infinite one. This is my simple prayer. May I become a reflection of the infinite one.
Amen. And now it's time, we have an opportunity now to give to the transformative work of this community, because we are all about changing our beliefs and our consciousness and opening to the new and changing our lives so that we become more fulfilled and joyful and productive and loving, and so that we can make a positive difference in the world at large. So we hope you will be generous today in support of our work. And let's affirm together. I know the, let me start that over. I know the activity of abundance in my life.
I know the activity of abundance in my life.
And in this center.
And in this center.
I give and receive generously.
I give and receive generously.
From this everlasting flow of good.
From this everlasting flow of good.
And so it is.
So it is.
A couple of announcements, and we do have a potluck, an Earth Day potluck after service, so please join us in the social hall right after we finish up here. Speaking of food, we've been asked to provide some food for the Greater Dayton LGBT Center's annual Spring Fling. It's on May 19th. And we are more than happy to purchase the food, and it's fried chicken, so nobody really has to cook it. But what we really need is someone to deliver it on May 19th at 5 p.m., which is a Saturday, and you'll be welcome to stay for the dinner and for a one-person show that's presented at the Spring Fling, if you're willing to do that. This is a really easy and great way to provide service to the greater community. So if you're interested, please let me know, and I will let them know that we can do that. I'm going to be teaching class all day that day, or I'd go myself, but we would love to have someone go and deliver the chicken. You can still enroll in the new self-mastery class that the amazing Becky Victor is facilitating on Monday evenings. It's all new material. It's the 4 agreements. It's got some Byron Katie stuff in there. It's totally been redone, and it's really quite powerful. So don't miss the opportunity to get in on this life-changing class. It's going to be pretty terrific. You can let me know, or Clara know, or Becky know if you're interested in joining. Tomorrow's the second week, and that's the last night to join the class. So please consider that. In your bulletin, there's a whole bunch of stuff, but a couple of things I want to bring your attention to. There is one flyer here. It's the inside of the more colorful one. But it's really about taking ownership of your spiritual community here. We're really looking for some people who are willing to play with us, and we do play, really, believe it or not, on the Leadership Council, which is like the board. We have a really good time working together, trying to, move the center into its unfolding future. We also need some help with the youth program and the teens and tweens program, and a Sunday service team that just sort of helps things run smoothly here. So please take a look at those ways to take ownership in your center, and consider spending a couple of hours a month playing with us. It'll really make a difference, and your wisdom and your vision and your love will really supercharge us. I also just want to remind you that you can always text to give to the center. The number is right here in your bulletin insert. It says text to give. It's very simple. It's set up through our church management software. It's secure, and it's a great and easy way to give to the center. As I say, there's a lot of information in your bulletin, so I invite you to look at all of those, all of these. There's so much happening. There's an entire flyer on a solar home systems workshop that's coming up. There is a game night coming up. There is our photo directory coming up. So please take all these things home and look at them, and consider playing in one or more or all of them. And let me remind you that if there's something in your life you need a little different view of, all of our spiritual practitioners who are wearing their stoles, the teal or white stoles, will be happy to pray with you after the service. It's their gift to you on Sundays. And do you have something, Gary, or is it your...
I will wait till you're done. I just want to say something. It's very impromptu, so I'll wait for you.
Okay. And before I do the very last announcement, Ann Calkins has something to say about cooking with God. And then Gary has something to say.
Okay, again, I'm kind of hyper. So I was going to talk about cooking with God. This is our fundraiser that we do. Oh, sorry. Can you hear now?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And we have people that make up events and to host, and then people buy tickets to go. Actually, in the past, people have bid on the events, but now we're just going to have you buy tickets, and you can do so in the library after church starting next Sunday. Or you can do it during the week as well, if you want to get a jump on things. But we have some really great events. let's see, we have laughter yoga, which should be fun. Also, we have a pool party, which Carol does, I think. And that's always the best, because Carol's a really great cook and stuff. And also, she gets help from Dorothy, so.
Yeah.
Dorothy, she's good.
Yeah, and this is interesting. Iran, Axis of Evil, or Hotbed of Hospitality. Is that you?
No, it's not me.
Okay. And then we have, of course, breakfast at Wimbledon, which we've been doing yearly for a couple of years. And if you can just picture the English countryside and a beautiful garden, and then you get to watch the ladies' final of Wimbledon, which, okay, it's actually not in England, it's at my house. So,
Final is at your house?
yes, it is. And my tennis court. So anyway, we have 19 people signed up for this. And our goal was to have 20 events, and so if one more person could sign up, or maybe 5 more people, who knows? So anyway, if you could do that today, that would be great. And then next week we'll put out the events for people to buy tickets to. So, anything else you can think of? Okay.
Thank you, Ann. Yeah, this is wonderful. We have some great stuff coming up.
Dreams and desserts. I'm gonna do that.
Ooh, that's always good.
I'm messing you up.
It's quite all right. I think I can find my place again. Okay, Gary.
All right, very impromptu. Very impromptu. I'm kind of going against the grain. I just want to honor the people that came out for the Adopt a Park community effort. We had about 25 to 30 people from our center, and we worked actually with about 100 people total. We had about 5 groups, very diverse. We worked alongside a group, a Buddhist group, a church community in Kettering, so it's kind of cool. 2 foreign students from Germany, other youth groups. It was kind of a neat. We combed a 1-mile section of the Great Miami River in West Carrollton at the Low Dam. So it made a difference. I think we collected probably between 40 and 50 bags of stuff, garbage, trash, and recyclables. Even a gun, a hypodermic needle, a bicycle, so
Tires.
a couple tires, yeah, so just amazing. So I want to just tip my hat to the people here who came out. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
And you know, just to tag on that real quick, how many of you have ever fished in the Great Miami? Well, I tell you, you're missing something. We talked to a guy that back in the 60s in Miami, it was a dead river. There were no fish. And today they have over 10 different species. From small and large bass, they do walleye. I mean, he was naming all these fish. I'm like, you're kidding me. He said, oh no, it's packed. So it's a great fishing opportunity, yes.
Oh, that's great. Yeah, thank you all for doing that service. That is wonderful. Okay. So we're at that point. Take a few minutes at the end of service to give everybody around you a hug or a handshake. Introduce yourself to somebody you don't know. And then join us in the social hall for an Earth Day potluck. Thanks to everyone who made today possible. All of you, first of all, because without you we wouldn't have a service. Our ushers and greeters and welcome team, our practitioners, the Higher Mind Band, of course. And so let's stand to our closing affirmation and our closing song. Stand. So easy sometimes. So please repeat after me. Today I focus on the infinite life.
Today I focus on the infinite life
That flows through me always.
that flows through me always.
I am vital,
I am vital,
joyous,
joyous,
free,
free,
and energized.
and energized.
And so it is.
And so it is.
Have a great week.
You too.